Several people were inquiring, because I've had this sort of hiatus in putting videos out, a range of fittings are required, meaning that on to getting this plumbing done for these sinks. But as the saying goes, where there's a will, there's a way. This is probably where you'll be using salt water more. Obviously, once you drill holes in things, that's settled that. Well, just for a little bit of an explanation, several people were inquiring, because I've had this sort of hiatus in putting videos out, whether everything is okay. And it is, thankfully. I mean, I did have the sine wave of life goes up and down, as is normal for all of us. So there were some personal things there, but also we've had weather, as local people would know. We got hit pretty heavy with rain. And a big part of it was I really needed to get my head down back into the textbooks to get on top of all of this electrical installation. As I've explained before, it's my weakness and the thing that I actually fear the most. I feel like I've had a week of school actually, head down in the textbooks. I've reread pretty much everything that I've read before using the great little 12-volt Bible book and of course Nigel Calder's great text, along with a plethora of online information going left, right, up, down and every degree of the compass, just trying to get the story clear in my head about how to proceed. So that's just a bit of an explanation about why I did have a bit of a break with putting out videos. But I can say the efforts on my part haven't stopped. I have been working away, and so the videos will resume. As you might be able to see on the table here, there's a range of things, both plumbing and electrical. I am really excited to complete the plumbing for the galley and then get right onto the electrical installation. So it's a good spot to be in actually now, and the sun's come out and that heat has gone. So hopefully everything crossed that I can proceed ahead and get some great boatwork done. So thank you to those people that did inquire. I really appreciate your thoughts and concern, and I hope that all of you guys are doing well too. So in order to get the drainage all working for these sinks, a range of fittings are required, meaning that it's all made up of pieces that need to be screwed in or else hoses over fittings and clamped. So to make this work easier, I'm just going to use the vise. I'll put a rag around the fittings, hold them in the vise, and that way I can use that wrench to do them up nice and tight. They don't need to be ridiculously tight, it's just that, as you can probably imagine, trying to hold that and put some sort of wrench on the end, it's just awkward. So the vise will make light work of that. Right, on to getting this plumbing done for these sinks. The first thing I need to do is work out exactly where those plug and wastes come down so that I can get the positions right for where the hose is going to go through those panels, but also the spacing between the fittings so that I can cut that pipe at the right length. So if we dive into the cabinets here, that's one sink waste there, the other one next door, and so I need to get some measurements so that I can get those fittings and hose positioned correctly. So the first thing is to actually get the length of this plug and waste correct at the first sink. That will determine where everything falls from thereafter. Obviously, and for those people who don't know, when it comes to plumbing, you've got to start at a point and everything thereafter needs to fall down so that you have no water trapped in any low high points. So the first sink here toward the centre line, that's the start point. I'll make this plug and waste as short as possible, which will give me plenty of fall to make its way to the through-hole fitting. I've made a start with getting a location for where these plug and wastes will need to go through those two panels. I've marked them, and so it'll just be one piece at a time onto the next one until I reach that through-hole fitting. And just to explain, having moved away from what's standard off the shelf, because I've got this 40mm domestic plug and waste, they are normally joined to an S-trap that has a rubber seal that you just do one of these collar threads up on like that. That will be joined at this other end, as I say, with a rubber seal. So in the event that you need to take the sink out or change the seal in the S-bend or recover something that might have fallen down the sink that you want to get out of the S-trap, that's designed for that. And so with my installation, because I need to actually screw these threaded fittings on nice and tight so they're waterproof, it does take a bit of effort to screw them on when they've got the thread tape on, when they've got enough thread tape to do the job properly. And so what I'm going to have to do is fit the plug and waste to the sinks first and get that all sealed with some Fix 15. Wait till that goes off, then do that collar screw up nice and tight so that the fitting stays in place. And then afterwards, I'm going to have to screw the fitting on and get that nice and tight and sealed. So it's just not quite as easy as is everything with boats. But as the saying goes, where there's a will, there's a way, and I'll get this sorted. It's just another one of those examples that with a boat, you're going to have to do extra work. So here's a piece I prepared before, in all seriousness. So this galley top here, it is quite wide, and apart from the perimeter, it won't have any other support. And once again, thinking of the human litmus test fall factor, what I did was I've made up this nice stiff beam out of rosewood, of course, and the idea now is to fix that. I've marked where it will be able to be mounted to fit between where I've fitted that angle. I'll use some of the good FMP 100 so that that will be permanently bonded, and that will just give a nice stiffness and support for that top. Whatever it might be subjected to, it won't sag. Well, things are going well with getting the plumbing sorted out. I've pretty much done as much as I can with that plumbing because there's a couple of things I need to do before I can actually start connecting the hose. For example, I've got to get some epoxy coating, 2 coats, on those holes that I've punched through those cabinet panels. I've also made up these battens, which I'll fix, one on either side of this panel here. And what they're going to be used for, where the 2 panels join, obviously that join needs to be nice and even, both on the height and also the gap between. So once I get those panels exactly where I want them, so that that joint is nice and sharp, I'll then be able to put some screws in the bottom of these and hold those 2 panels down at that joint where they meet, so that over time that'll stay in place. The other thing I need to do is actually fix those sinks down into their penetrations on that galley top. As mentioned before, I'll be just bonding them down with the Fix 15. So what I'll need to do is get them in place, get them bonded before I actually connect them up with the hosing between the sinks and beyond. Well, as is typical boat work, so it's just not that simple. Although I did remember that I was going to have filtration, I hadn't really had a good think about, so where am I going to fit 3 taps around these sinks? I say 3 because, as you can see, I've got 2 here now set up. This will be the main freshwater pressurised hot and cold, and that can swivel between the 2 sinks. This other tap here, the idea is that that will be salt water, and having that just feed 1 sink is absolutely fine. And in fact, I elected to go to this one because you stand right in front of this sink more than you do that one. And I think this is the one that you're more likely to use if you're just going to be rinsing things, washing your hands. So I'm happy with that position. However, what I really had not put into my mind when it came to getting these fitted was the water filtration, which I absolutely do want. So the idea will be to have a Y junction on the pressure pump. One feed will go to this tap, and then the other will go through this filter to a spout that you can get good quality drinking water from. I'm a tea drinker, and as us tea drinkers know, you gotta have good water. Good quality water is a bit of a must. There's been quite a bit of thinking about this. Obviously, once you drill holes in things, that's settled that. So the placement of these taps just got a little bit complicated because, in fact, I do want to have 3 taps over these sinks. So I need to fit another tap in here. I was thinking that it would be nice to have it the same. Then I thought maybe something a bit more discreet, smaller in other words. But really, I think to change what I've got here, it might look a bit odd. So I've opted for getting another tap exactly the same. Now, the store that I go to, Whitworth's, don't actually have any in stock at my local store, so it's coming from interstate. In fact, I'm getting 2 because I want another one for the heads for later. So that's the plan now, 3 taps. And what I'll do, again, mulling over the best option, this tap really does need to straddle the sink so that the tap can reach both sort of evenly, and of course aesthetically it will look good. And then what I decided to do was just basically divide the space from where this one is to where I'll put that other one so that they're evenly spaced. I don't think there's any perfect solution. That's what I've opted for. So I can now take this top off, make sure that when I drill the holes, they're not going to be right on top of the angle or that panel. And after that, of course, I need to put 2 coats of epoxy on those holes. Once that's all cured, the idea will be to just use some Fix 15 to bond where these taps sit on the tops. They have a nut underneath to pull them down nice and tight, and that will be that. So there you go everyone, the second epoxy coat going on after a long, for me, video of great boat work, with much more now coming together and much more to come in the next episode. So I've worked out a little spot for this water filter. Could I ask you a quick favour request for watching my video? To like, subscribe, click that bell and share it. I'd really appreciate that.